Those words should be ringing in the ears of those 11 gentlemen after the nightmarish debacle in the ODI Cricket World Cup final few days back, and that too after a dream run for over a month in overall World Cup campaign. I won't be wrong if millions of Indians across the world would want for once the evening to repeat itself to correct what went wrong that day. Audience is considered to be the 12th man in all Indian matches. Pat Cummins aptly told reporters if they can be silenced, World Cup may change hands. For Indians, cricket is not a game but a way of life. They eat cricket, sleep cricket, laugh cricket, even cry cricket and bleed blue. We are privileged to have with us today Mr. R Sridhar to speak on the phenomenon called cricket in conversation with Dr. Ashutosh Paturkar. With the pride of having a galaxy of empowered people today in the Orange City, greetings to all. This is Pravartan Tatte, delighted and privileged to welcome you all to this 5th edition of Orange City Literature Festival, organized by SGR Knowledge Foundation in association with GH Raisoni University, powered by Raisoni Group of Institutions. I now request both the guest speaker and moderator to occupy their seats on the dais with a big round of applause from students. Please. Before I bring you the topic of this moment, all about cricket, cricket the universal religion in India with R Sridhar in conversation with Dr. Ashutosh Paturkar, may I read brief information of the revered guests. Dr. Ashutosh Paturkar is Dean Academics at Green Heaven Institute of Management and Research. He received his master's degree at YCMU and PhD at RTMN. He is author of the book 5 Elements of Organizational Excellence. He was to delve deep into forgetting the time frame. I must appreciate the guests of this session for having accepted and structured this topic into a frame of 40 minutes, inclusive of audience questions are. I request you to also note that upcoming session in this hall at 3 o'clock is on the topic relationships, you, me and hum with Sudeep Nagarkar in conversation with Tanya Kapoor. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, I now call upon Dr. Ashutosh Paturkar to lead this session forward.
Yeah, many thanks. At the onset, I would like to thank OCLF for giving me this opportunity to interact with Mr. R Sridhar, because it's an honor and privilege. As he rightly mentioned, that cricket is a religion in India, and we have gods. Right? We have Sachin Tendulkar, as I mentioned, is a god. We have Virat Kohli, who is achieving that stature and on his way. But when we talk about the gods, what we also know that they fight battles. They protect us, they fight battles for us, and so the cricketers also. But what we really do not know is who makes them battle ready. It's important to make these people battle ready as well. And it's not just now, but even if we have gone through the epics of Ramayana also, even in Ramayana as well, Ram was made battle ready by Vishwamitra before he fought Ravan. So making them battle ready is what their coaches do. And the only thing that we say is that everything is changing, but the only thing that is not changing is, and that is change itself. Everything is constant, but change is the only constant now. A good coach is positive, enthusiastic, supportive, trusting, focused, goal-oriented, knowledgeable, observant, respectful, patient, and is a clear communicator. So coach drives team performance and helps people get to their next level of effectiveness also. So today at OCLF, we are very privileged and very proud to have Mr. R Sridhar, who was handpicked by Ravi Shastri, right? As was mentioned along with Bharat Arun and Sanjay Bangar as well. So welcome to OCLF. It's a great privilege and honor to have you here.
Thank you, Ashutosh, and thank you, OCLF, and thank you to the people of this wonderful city of Nagpur. It's a pleasure to be here.
See, as I mentioned earlier also, that the only thing that is constant is a change, and even coaching has been changing a lot. I do remember the coach acknowledged, as per my memory goes, because I was a youngster at that time, when 1985 Sunil Gavaskar won Benson and Hedges Cup in Australia, and he thanked Irapalli Prasanna, who was a coach then, and he thanked him. That time I realized how important the coaches are. We were till then thinking only about the players who were performing. But coaching has also changed a lot. I mean, you yourself have been influenced a lot by Bob Woolmer, who also changed coaching, made it a little more scientific. So, what is that exact influence of Bob Woolmer?
Well, during the early part of my coaching career, obviously I was in search of information, as we all are, whichever walk of life we choose to. And in the process, early in the 2000s, we didn't have access to knowledge as we have access now, and now we have access to knowledge at the tip of our fingers. But in those days, it was not that easy to access state-of-the-art knowledge. So that is when I looked up to Bob Woolmer to learn the science and the techniques of sports coaching, which in this case was cricket. But now, after 25 years, when I look back at it, and you mentioned several qualities that a good coach should possess, and I feel the most important quality a good coach should possess is care. I think that is a word which has to be underlined. The coaching system, the coaching industry has changed a lot from what it was in the early 2000s when I seeked out Bob Woolmer from South Africa. He's no more, but he was a great coach at that point in time. But in today's context, coaching the young men Indians who are sitting here, coaching is about coaching the person and not coaching the sport. So care, I think, is one of the most important qualities a coach should possess, along with all the other qualities that you did mention earlier when you introduced coaching. So coaching has come for 360 degrees, and that's the way it should be. Like you said, change is the only constant.
Yeah, that's yes. Care is another very important thing, and I have seen you taking care of so many players, even Ravi Shastri as well. Not only on the professional front, but even on personal front as well. That also. So this warrants some kind of a organized knowledge of coaching also. It is not that you just become a coach. So if you can throw some light on this organized knowledge of coaching.
It is widely believed that if you are a good player, you will go on to become a good coach, and many parents and athletes do seek out coaches who have played the sport a lot, irrespective of which sport they want to pursue. But unfortunately, that is not the entire truth. A good player, in all probabilities, may not become the best coach. Of course, we have an exception in Rahul Dravid, who's a great player and also a fabulous coach, and Ravi Shastri, who's a great player and went on to coach India very, very successfully. But coaching is a different skill sets altogether, as opposed to playing. So to become a good coach, obviously, you will have to have a lot of those human skills, which are very important. And along with that, you'll have to accredit yourself with the right knowledge. So in sports, not just in cricket, but in many sports, we have coaching accreditations, which are called the level 1s, level 2s, and level 3s, which is run by the respective federations in each sport. So those coaching accreditation certificates consist of a lot of topics like physiology, so many other things, psychology, the techniques, the biomechanics, communication skills, conflict skills, creative thinking, conflict management, critical analysis. So there are many of such topics which are covered in those coaching accreditation courses, and once you complete those courses, it equips you better to coach the person and just not handle the athlete. So that was something which I pursued when I took up coaching, and I took all the accreditations, but I think that is just a starting point. I think the real learning in any skill, whether it is photography, whether it is public speaking, whether it is just to be a good listener. You have to practice that skill to become good at it. You can't go and sit in a classroom and study for, say, 1 year or 2 years and you become good at it. No, that's not the way it's going to happen. You actually have to practice that skill to become good at the skill. Recently, I approached one of the best photographers in the country to learn my photography skills. He said, I can tell you hundreds of things about photography, but you're going to be on the cricket field coaching every day. You're not going to become good in photography, are you? You're only going to become good in coaching. So obviously, to get better in any skill, actually, you have to practice that, and that is what makes you better at it. And the best way to learn coaching is to coach, not in a classroom.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I do remember in one of your sessions where Rahul Dravid has come, and Rahul Dravid said that maybe you are a great player, but when it comes to coaching, you have to start from the scratch. You don't start with the level that you have achieved as a player. And yes, many of the gifted players, not only in cricket but even other sports also, they are not necessarily went on to become great coaches also. So there are certain personality traits that a coach is either born with or they have to acquire. So to a certain extent, this organized knowledge helps in sharpening your skills there.
Definitely, the organized knowledge which you acquire by doing the coaching program sharpens your skills and gives you a better outlook as to how to approach the profession of coaching. Like I said, coaching is a very responsible profession. You know, young lady sitting here, probably with a son, would not take him to a coach who's not equipped with the certification and not equipped with the kind of knowledge the coach possesses. Obviously, parents do their research before they approach a coaching academy, not just for cricket or badminton, any sport for that matter. And with coaching comes great responsibility. You know, many of us in this room, there are a lot of youngsters, I would ask that question to them, but many of us in this room have houses, we have cars, and we have children. And if you ask a parent, which of these three possessions is your most valuable, I would be very surprised if someone says my car is my most valuable possession. They will obviously say my child is my most valuable possession. And as a coach, just imagine the responsibility if a parent comes and puts their most valuable thing in their life in your hands and says, please take care or please mold my child. With that comes huge responsibility. And many coaches going around don't understand that. And that is why I said the most important quality in a coach is to care for the child rather than teach him how to play a cover drive or pull a ground swinger.
Yes, care, it's very, very important. But simultaneously, you are also empowering them. I mean, players, because effectively they are the ones who go and play in the ground. So, empowering the players is also one of the great attributes that a coach has. For instance, I mean, what you did with Shardul Thakur. So, what exactly happened? I mean, you empowered Shardul Thakur a lot. You all would like to know how Shardul Thakur has been empowered, and you have been instrumental in doing that. So, if you can share that experience.
I don't know if you want to listen to the anecdotes or you want to listen to the process of empowering.
Yeah, both of them, both.
But I will surely share the process of empowering young sport persons, which is the same as Shardul Thakur. The process of empowering young people in today's context is actually helping them construct the solutions. That's what we did with Shardul Thakur. You know, in olden days, or all youngsters who are sitting in the room, most of the time you're instructed. You're instructed what to do by coaches. I think that is the wrong approach in coaching. I think now the solutions have to be constructed by the athletes. So you provide them with opportunities and help them construct the solutions, and the coach's role is to facilitate that construction and help the youngsters come up with the right solutions by asking more meaningful and more deep questions. So that is the approach we take nowadays, and that is exactly what we did with Shardul Thakur. I remember an incident which I also wrote in the book, that we needed to pass a message to Ravichandran Ashwin, who was batting out there in the middle, and we gave the instruction to Shardul Thakur. Shardul Thakur nodded his head and said, yes sir, I'll pass on the message. And he went to the middle, he gave Ashwin a bottle of water, and he came back. And when he came back, we asked Shardul, bola kya usko message? उसने बोला हाँ सर बोल दिया तो सारा मैच खत्म हुआ, टेस्ट मैच खत्म हुआ, मैच ड्रॉ हुआ, सिडनी में था टेस्ट मैच, और जब अश्विन वापस आया और बैठा और बोला यार, तो वन ऑफ अस वेंट टू हिम एंड told him, well done, you did exactly what Shardul passed on the message which we relayed. He said, what message? Shardul didn't give me any message. So Shardul actually did not pass on that message to Ashwin, but he did the right thing. He was well empowered, and he said when a player, when an athlete, or when any person is doing something correct, we should not confuse them by putting too much of information into their head. So sometimes it's very important for us as elders, parents and coaches to keep it very simple. Sometimes we complicate things by over-instructing our children or our athletes. So as a coach, one of the important part is to keep the instructions very simple, or in fact, don't instruct and help people find their own solutions.
Precisely, because I do remember one of the IPL matches, it did happen. And
the IPL final?
Yes, IPL final. And then Sunil Gavaskar was extremely critical of the micromanagement that was happening at that particular time. But coaches also identify the potential. I mean, not only that their ability to play, but their ability to lead a team in time to come. Because we are looking forward to developing leaders also. So that is what the coaches are also doing. I mean, what I'm talking about is in the context of Sanju Samson. You personally identified his potential to lead a team with the instance of Ravindra Jadeja. The instance was that Ravindra Jadeja was hit on the helmet, right? And he continued to play after that. And then there was a suggestion that Sanju Samson gave to Sir, and he instantly recognized the potential that he had to lead a team, not just be a part of a team, but lead a team. So how actually that was used, confusion rule and other things?
I mean, that was in the spur of the moment. Again, I'll just touch upon the essence of that story. I think through sport, and I said that in my TED talk as well, through sport, what we can develop is young, dynamic youth. Not just cricket, it can be any sport. The reason why we pay fees for our children to go and participate in sport is so that they learn the skills that is required for them to excel in the society. So one of those skills is critical thinking. And by playing sport, sport presents a challenge to all of you. Every time you go and play sport, you've got to be on your feet in terms of your thought process. So sports develops critical thinking, and that is what Sanju Samson exhibited. At that point in time, critical decision making. Sports promotes useful aggression, aggression, there are two types of aggression. One is useless aggression, which you see in the traffic, people fighting with each other, or you find useful aggression when it is channelized and made more productive. Sports helps you learn the art of resilience, coming back from failures, which something academics doesn't teach you. When you play sport, you lose 8 out of 10 times, but yet you wake up the next day morning and go and practice and develop. And you don't get selected if you're representing competitive sport. You don't get picked for your state teams or district teams, yet you go to practice the next day and get better and better. So this society needs a lot of such characters. India is a very resilient country, and with such a young population, like the young kids who are sitting in front of me, we need to develop resilience. We need to develop critical thinking. We need to develop awareness, which sports provides at every opportunity. We need to develop people with a hint of aggression. We cannot be docile all the time, can we? So that is what sports provides, and that is what we teach through sports. These life skills, which are so important to succeed in any walk of life, and that is what the book Coaching Beyond is all about. That is why we call it Coaching Beyond. It's not about coaching the sport or coaching cricket. It's about coaching skills which are beyond the sport. And that is what Sanju Samson exhibited on the day: critical thinking, decision making, and helping the team win. So immediately he conveyed it. He said, if अगर जडेजा को चोट बहुत पहुंचा है, सर हम रिप्लेस करने की सोच सकते हैं. Then we took Jadeja to the team doctor, and team doctor definitely said, yeah, it's quite a hit, because Mitchell Stark was bowling at almost 150 kilometers per hour, and the ball hit his helmet. And Jadeja, being Jadeja, the brave Ravindra Singh Jadeja, he wanted to carry on. But common sense prevailed, and then the doctor said, I think Jadeja should not because he's got a concussion, and Sanju was right. We replaced him with Yuchuminder Chahal, and Chahal went on to win the man of the match by picking up 3 wickets in that match. He picked up Steve Smith or whoever it was, and yeah, that was the turning point of that series. We went on to draw the series as well. So we went on to win the T20 series. So that was excellent display of critical thinking and leadership by Sanju Samson.
Yes, it indeed is. I mean, like critical thinking and then the creativity, strategizing, etc. We have seen that among the coaches also. Today, you have been taking a lot of help of others as well in that, like let's say, for example, a video analyst. So, video analyst also plays a role like Prasanna Agaram. He's the one who has been the video analyst. So, at what length the balls was bowled and whether that length was appropriate. And it is not just on a pitch, but a batsman specific also. So, how much do these technologies are being used and how do they help in strategizing?
That's a great question because each and every passing day, technology only gets better and better, and now you have AI, and you have which predicts how the pitch is going to behave as the match progresses, or how this player is going to play as he develops fatigue. So all the information, past information is fed, and you have now AI which helps you with all these things. Earlier, we used to rely on our experience, and now we have so much data, but data can be a double-edged sword. It can take the human element out of sport and make it too robotic, which you don't want. You want the human element of sport to remain in sport. You don't want things to become too robotic, but there's so much data available nowadays with coaches at the international level. Unfortunately, the same data, the same amount of data is not available at the grassroots level. I think we will succeed more frequently as stakeholders when we help the grassroots level get the same kind of data. But using those data and interpreting the data in the right way is what coaches do. And that is the key, because in a world where there is so much information available, I would like to believe that less is more. The lesser the information we pass on, the better it is, because that is what helps an athlete develop their own critical thinking. The more information we pass, we will confuse them, lead to confused thinking. But we need to give them just a sufficient amount of information for critical thinking. So less is more at the top level, and but data definitely helps. And as we progress into the next decade, it's going to become more and more. Probably they'll predict next ball what the batter is going to do, and you'll have an AI image of it as well. So that's where we are going, and data science is terrific for the world, for us to develop a lot of cues and stuff. But when it comes to sport, I think there should be an element of human touch in it.
I completely agree with you, because a lot of data is available. There is a term that is used generally in the McKinsey way, that is me-see. That is mutually exclusive but collectively exhaustive. So collectively you are collecting exhaustive data, but then mutually exclusive, which is important for a particular player, is important. But data is one of the tools of decision making. What plays also a role is a culture. Particularly in today's context, you have been coaching IPL teams also. How difficult it is to coach people coming from different cultures, like say for example Chris Gale and Harshdeep Singh. So how difficult it is?
I'll answer the question in two parts. You spoke about traditions. I think that's what my book really conveys. It's a memoir on that 7-year period when Virat Kohli was the captain and Mr. Ravi Shastri was the coach of the team for most of the time. It is those habits which were developed during the time. How does tradition come into place? I think it starts with good habits. Habits consistently performed over a period of time becomes culture, and culture consistently pursued over a period of time becomes tradition. So developing good habits, consistently performing those habits during critical times develops a culture in the team. I think the culture in the team is so important. And that culture after a decade goes on to become a tradition. Like we all say, oh yeah, tradition, this is the tradition we follow. So that's how tradition is formed. And answering your question in the second part is, how do you manage people from different cultures and different traditions? Well, care is the answer. In my opinion, I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, it's one man's opinion. Irrespective of a person who comes from Australia, West Indies, England, Sri Lanka or New Zealand, it's about caring for that person. You genuinely care for the well-being of that person, you take his best interest in mind, you develop the trust. So to develop trust, it takes three things, in my opinion. Obviously, I've read this in a book recently, which I'm reading. It's a book by Adam Grant. It's called The Hidden Potential. It takes three spheres to develop trust in a person. One is care, primarily. Second is credibility of the person. And the third is familiarity with that person. If care, credibility, and familiarity, all three come together, then you develop trust. So when you care for a person and you have credibility behind you, the voice which is talking, and then your credentials, like you said, the coaching accreditations, level 1s, level 2s, level 3s, your playing years, the number of years you coached. If all three these come together, then you're able to speak or connect with a person from any culture and any background.
Yeah, that's very interesting and important also, because you did mention about care, but at the same time, man manager as well. A coach has to be a good man manager. You need to be slightly careful handling someone like Bumrah, who is a little sentimental, and he also was handled very carefully by Bharatanaram on one of the occasions when he was not to tour New Zealand and he was to come back to India. So how exactly that did happen? Because that changed his perspective towards his bowling completely.
Yeah, that was a great learning for me as well. Many of you would not know Bharat Tarun was a bowling coach of the Indian team. He's my mentor in coaching, and I've learned a lot from him, and I'm still learning. That particular incident was the fourth test of the India-Australia series. We were on the verge of becoming the first ever Asian team to go and beat Australia in a test match down under in Australia. And Bumrah had won us the test match single-handedly in Melbourne, the previous test match, the Boxing Day test match. And we moved on to Sydney. It was very hot, and a couple of days of the test match was washed out, and the test match was going into an inevitable draw. It's meandering into a draw. So Bumrah came to Coach Arun and said, sir, I think we'll take the second new ball, but since the test match is going to become a draw, and there's nothing left, and we are going to win the series, can I take the foot off the pedal? Can I take it a little easy? So that is where Bharat Tarun gave a great life lesson to Bumrah, like Lord Krishna gave Arjuna. He said, look Bumrah, you can't do that, it's your choice. But the other choice you have is, go out there, you're only going to bowl 5 or 6 overs. No matter to which bowler you are bowling, bowl a spell which is unplayable. Give your heart out. It's going to be one of the last spells you're going to bowl on the series. Anyway, you're taking rest. And then we head for a World Cup after 4 months. So bowl a spell flat out, with your heart out, and ensure that that batter who plays you again later on in another format has got that fear of playing you. Today, if you go and bowl a spell well within yourself, let's say at a speed of 130, 132 kilometers, that batter will play you very easily, and then he will develop a mental edge over you when you play him again, or when he plays you again. And he will play you with more confidence the next time. So the choice is yours, whether to go there and bowl well within yourself and give confidence to the batter when he plays you again, or go there and bowl a spell which is unplayable, he struggles. And not just him, anybody else who comes to face you again will come with a lot of doubts in their head. The choice is yours. And it's anybody's guess which choice Bumrah took. Despite being one of the last spells of the series, he went in and bowled an unplayable spell. And I think those batters were, in my opinion, Manas Labuschagne was one of those batters. And I really can't remember another Aussie batter who played. But yeah, that was a terrible way of coaching. And it's an example of man management, and also the way Bumrah responded, a lot of credit to him as well. What a fabulous sportsman he is.
कभी कभी बॉलर को गुस्सा भी देना पड़ता है, शामी को,
स्पेशली फास्ट बॉलर को, कोई भी फास्ट बॉलर को गुस्सा, लेकिन वो गुस्सा सही दिशा में होना चाहिए. जैसा मैं बोला, दो टाइप्स ऑफ अग्रेशन है, एक यूजफुल है, एक यूजलेस है. यूजलेस अग्रेशन वो है जो हमको अपने काम से हटा देता है. यूजफुल अग्रेशन है जो हमको अपने काम में बेहतर करता है. जो हम सुबह में मम्मी के ऊपर चिल्लाते हैं वो यूजलेस अग्रेशन है ना. जो हमको काम में बेहतर करता है वो यूजफुल अग्रेशन है. जो हम ट्रैफिक में गाली गलौज करते हैं वो यूजलेस अग्रेशन है. सो एक फास्ट बॉलर को यूजफुल अग्रेशन होना चाहिए.
That's right. And that's of course in the context of all the fast bowlers, not just Shami or one. You have talked about creating opportunities and creating quality opportunities. So what exactly are these quality opportunities and how they are created?
I think quality opportunities are created when there is trust in the ability of the person ahead of you. Many times, I don't think everyone in life gets a fair run in any spectrum of life. Sometimes you get a very small window of opportunity, but sometimes you get a big window to prove your skills. So I always believe that each person has to be given a quality window to perform their skills, and that is what is the culture we tried and setting in the Indian team. Someone comes and plays, it is always not possible to perform in a very short window span. We are all humans, we all make mistakes, and we get better by making mistakes. So if someone goes and plays 3 matches or 4 matches and they make mistakes, it doesn't mean that that person is going to make more mistakes. It actually means that the person is going to learn from them and become better as the opportunities comes. But unfortunately, it doesn't always happen in every walk of life. So quality of opportunity to present the younger generation an opportunity to make mistake and refine themselves and get better at that is what we strive to pass over the baton. And I think every individual deserves a quality opportunity to get better.
We are really running short of time. Just couple of questions very fast from my side, and then we'll come to the audience in the event they have any question. Particularly 2021 tour of Australia, the support staff played a major role. What exactly was that?
Yeah, the tour of Australia was very tough. It was during COVID, and it was tough to stay in a room and quarantine for 14 days, either side of the tour, not meet people. And we as human beings are very social people. We like to meet people, interact. We like touch, we like encouragement. But it was tough tour, and we had lost the first test very badly, getting all out for 36. And that is where the real test of character of
Virat also came back.
Yeah, and luck would have it, our captain was coming back to be with his family. But that is where Ravi Shastri's leadership qualities shone through, and he completely played down that 36 all out and said that this team is what about? This team is not about failing in one session. You're a far better team, and give the confidence, and that is what that group did. The group got together better. They say that adversity brings the best out of us and brings people together. So that is exactly what that adversity did, and Australian cricket team didn't know what was coming for them, and it brought the team together. And loss of personnel also brought the teams together and gave them belief. It gave them a reason to play beyond their belief and ability. And the support staff obviously created a great culture, kept the team together, kept the emotions in the team perfect. That really helped, and rest is history, as they say. But quickly, I'll touch upon that Shami topic about fast bowler being angry. I wrote about that incident in my book as well, for those who haven't read it. So we were playing this test match in Joburg, and the test match was very critically balanced. And we wanted to win the test match, as that would say a lot about the team. And at lunchtime, we needed 8 more wickets to win the test match. Hashim Amla and Dean Helga were batting, and the test match was slipping out of our hands. So during lunchtime, Ravi Shastri, this is about Ravi Shastri, not about Shami. Ravi Ravi Shastri jokingly mocked at Shami, saying that बस क्या Shami इधर ही खाएगा क्या? तो उधर जाके ground पे भी खाना है तेरे को wickets. So Shami was having lunch. He looked at his plate and he said, अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है इधर खाऊंगा उधर भी खाऊंगा. He said, and he had his lunch and he went out there in the middle and he got a 5 for 21 and he actually won the test match by a meager margin of 26 runs. So that was one of the historic wins in Jogbaga under Virat Kohli's captaincy. So that kind of explains what is useful aggression and how to bring the best out of a person. So that was only possible because Ravi and Shami had great trust between each other. So if you don't have trust with a person and you go and say that, it could be taken in a very wrong way. But the trust had developed between Ravi and Shami, and that is why he could pass that remark at lunch. So the perception also was right, the context was right, and because of the understanding between the two of us, that worked. So that is how management is all about. I just wanted to share that experience.
Yes. Final question from my side. You have a very vast and enriching experience with the Indian cricket team as well as with the IPL teams. And now that you are passing on to the aspiring coaches, so tell us something about coaching your academy.
Yeah, after being the coach of the Indian team for more than 300 matches, there was plenty of opportunities, but we chose to decide to not just help young athletes bridge the gap between being an amateur cricketer and a professional cricketer, but we also wanted to give people the skills that come with learning cricket, and more importantly, we wanted to develop good coaches in the sport of cricket. And coaching as an industry has changed a lot, as opposed to what it was even in 2000s. Coaching was very instruction based in 2000s. Now I was just telling Mr. Dev that outside that coaching is now very construction based. So now the coaching is such that we give the problem to the athletes to solve, we help them solve the problems, we don't solve the problems for them. So we create situations where they solve the problems themselves, and we as coaches become facilitators for that. Earlier days it used to be coach instructs and the athlete does it. That's the wrong way of learning. The learning in that is not permanent. Now the coach sets up the situation, the athletes is in the situation, they find out the solution themselves. It's implicit learning. So we help the athletes construct solution. So it is almost like a flipped classroom. The students find out the results and answers for themselves. The coaches help them find out the answers by asking deeper questions, deeper and deeper questions and meaningful questions. That way, if the answer comes from them, there is permanent learning and there is never a breakdown while performing it under pressure. So that is what Coaching Beyond is. We have many verticals, we have online verticals, we have on-site brick and mortar coaching centers in many states in India. But our coach the coach, that way we're able to spread our wings and help more young athletes not to play cricket, but develop the skills that comes from learning the sport and become very successful no matter which walk of life they choose to be in.
Those are absolutely enlightening and quite insightful words. Now, in the event, if the audience have questions, we can take a couple of questions. Yes, ma'am, please.
I can hear it, but I'll repeat it for you.
I want just a piece of advice for budding cricketers like my nephew. He's just 10 years old, and many others sitting out there.
Well, without the context, it's very tough for me to give a piece of advice. But again, I will only tell you what your parents have already told you. No matter what you choose, you'll have to believe that you will achieve it. There are going to be many obstacles on the path, and you have to clear your own obstacles. Don't expect your mother, father, and others to come and clear the obstacles for you. You have to be extremely dedicated, pro-social, proactive, extremely determined to achieve your goal. you need clarity to achieve your goal. So that is what I would encourage young kids, not just in cricket, in any walk of life, whether it could be academics, sports, or arts, or anything. One thing, the difference about art and sport is in art, you are performing, but you are not competing with anybody. Like if you're composing a piece of music or you're performing dance, it's a performance. But in sport, you are competing. So it develops another aspect which is so pertinent to today's society. You have to compete and win. That is what sport teaches you as opposed to arts. So young girls especially should play sport, I feel, because sport is an excellent form of expressing your ability.
Yeah, we'll have one more question here from the person in the second row.
Sports. So yeah, my name is Aswad Mohan and I'm a coach, but I'm a different coach than you. I'm a leadership coach. But yeah, a lot of inspiration I have taken from my stint with cricket. I played cricket all my life up to district level. One question particularly I want to ask you, which is more relevant to your career. I remember India was not a great fielding side earlier. Back when Robin Singh used to play, Robin Singh was one of the influencers, or as we can call him, who was a great fielder at that time. Then came Yuvraj Singh and KF, who were quite few people who used to field well. But right now India is a great fielding side, right? So, and you were a fielding coach of India for around 300 matches. So what changed from that Yuvraj and KF's era till today? What exactly you did with the fielders or the players, which actually made India as a good fielding side, which we are today? So a particular, I mean, you can narrate the incidents, or you can narrate what drills you used to do. So we want to have those insights upfront. So
It's quite a long question. How much time do we have? Can we do some drills in this room? Well, thank you for asking. It's not the first time that I've been asked this question. Look, I was very fortunate to be there to change that culture. But there have been multiple people as part of that shift in culture, and multiple events between the KF and Yuvraj era as opposed to Jadeja and Virat Kohli era. I think one of those important cogs in the wheel of that cultural shift. I spoke about culture and tradition, which is now a tradition. That time it was just a culture. One of the important cogs in the wheel was MS Dhoni. He's the one who triggered the transition. And then came the biggest influencer of that transformation, and that is called the IPL. So the IPL gave more exposure to young children, to better athletes, and with the IPL came better infrastructure, better grounds. Today you go to nooks and corners of Maharashtra, you find lush green grounds where young kids can fall, throw themselves without the fear of getting hurt and tearing their attire. Then came BCCI's coach education program. The coaching was better, more knowledge with the coaches. They were able to coach athletes better, better techniques. And after India won the 2011 World Cup, and then subsequent to that, then came a bigger, a more better version of fitness. Virat Kohli led the fitness revolution in India, and the fitter the players became, the better they became in fielding. And then those habits which developed in Dhoni's captaincy became even more stronger in Virat's captaincy. He drove the change, he made the culture into a tradition, and today we are one of the most dominant fielding sides in the world. So I had no part in it, absolutely. It was all about the tradition and the culture and the environment which made the change.
That's very modest of you. I mean, we know what changes you really brought in. It was personally extremely privileged to have interacted with you, and thank you very much for your insightful views and enlightening views on coaching at a larger perspective and cricket in particular. Many thanks having you here at the OCLF. Great privilege. Thank you so much. Many thanks.
I would also like to say my thanks to Raisoni Group and Orange City Literature Festival and all the volunteers and all the stakeholders here for making this wonderful event. A big thanks to Ashutosh sir, most well-read man and honored man, sitting so humbly, great character trait. And most of all, to all of you young minds, I would urge you to ignite them and achieve what is impossible and go on to make our country proud and make this world a better place. So once again, a big thanks to everyone here, everyone in Nagpur, one of my favorite cities. We always love coming here. The Janta Stadium is always jam-packed when we come here. I love the food here and the hospitality is beyond par. And thank you once again, Orange City Literature Festival. Pleasure being here.
Thank you, speakers, for your enriching inputs on the topic. Your words on coaching, where you told us the importance of caring and empowering a player, empowering an athlete, and you practiced it with the players like Shami, Kubra, and we can see the output on fields. So, thank you for being an excellent coach to this Indian team. They are doing wonders, sir. One day World Cup loss is not a big deal. It's okay, we have 2027. So, at this moment, I would like to thank the Times of India for their constant support in powering this session of the 5th edition of Orange City Literature Fest 2023. Thank you for joining us, and until I meet you shortly in the upcoming sessions, this is Pravartan Datte signing off. Before we go, I would like to present this photograph.